Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Doug's vlog, and we started the week off with a pen bench press, and I think he got, I believe that's 335. Yeah, I believe so, 335, and he called it quits there. So after that, of course, we do incline work. Notice that I have him pausing on all of it now. Okay, we're pausing on everything. And I think there should be some flat bench work in there also. I'm not sure where that went, or floor pressing. I guess I didn't get the footage for that on this day from him. But we're going over to everything paused, and the reason is we need that to bring his bench up. That's where his weak links are. Now, a lot of people say, well, why do you care? Bench is his strongest lift. That's what he does best in meets. Well, because we're going for total, right? He's got more meets scheduled for this year. We have hopefully one coming up in the relatively near future, right? So we have multiple meets on the agenda. He's getting, qualified for nationals and a couple of feds so he can figure out where he wants to land later this year, giving us a lot of options. So afterwards we do JM presses, then we do dumbbell rows, lateral raises, and pretty much what we do for his upper body days. Now, obviously, Doug is pretty lean. Something that comes up, people will notice a lot of my serious powerlifters are fairly lean. I do have some heavier people, and some of them are my powerlifters. But you'll notice for the most part, I try to promote that most of my guys, if they want to, get into powerlifting, and my girls, we want to be fairly lean. We're trying to compete in weight classes. And this is a massive misconception about the sport. Everyone assumes powerlifters are fat due to the history of the really heavy weight classes and all that stuff. So the reality is, if you start going to meets, a lot of the people who are winning, you'd be surprised how many lifters have six packs, abs, all that stuff. All right, we went ahead and did pin squats. Of course, he used these Rogue safety straps instead of pins for this. And I think we ended up getting up to around 425. I'd have to check my notes. I think that's about what we got. Or was it might have been 405. I would need to check. But if you guys check the previous reels, if you're looking at this on Facebook, or the shorts, if you're looking at this on YouTube, because I upload to both pages all my videos, you'll see what he got. I had the number put up. So a lot of these get previewed there. All right, then we do split squats with a safety bar. And the reason for this, it's low axial loading. It allows us to get some quad and adductor work in that doesn't put a lot of loading on the spine, but with less equipment. So it's like this comes up. People are like, some of your people do single leg work, some don't. Well, yeah, people who have belt squats and stuff, I don't have them do a lot of single leg work. And it's not to say people shouldn't maybe do some every now and then. I've been known to do some. And may reach a point where I start doing more again if I need my squat to go up further, if my belt squats aren't cutting it. But people who have a belt squat, I don't worry about it. A lot of times my stronger lifters, we do leg presses with a single leg. And of course that is done specifically to make it easier to load and unload the machine. So we don't have to put 1,000 or 2,000 pounds on that machine in order to get a leg work. Okay. And then he does, other stuff. He does reverse hyperextension, Romanian deadlifts. All right, speed bench day, we do speed work. His speed work is relatively heavy right now because, again, we're pretty much in season. We're going into meets. I'm keeping the speed work heavier. So he does 3 sets wide, 3 sets medium, 3 sets close. And then we do incline benching. Incline benching carries over to his bench press massively. Okay, this is one of my lifters who the incline has phenomenal carryover to his benching, has phenomenal carryover to his weakest links, and so we get real strong at it. So this week he wanted to try the JM presses with the safety squat bar, because a lot of coaches recommend it. He asked me about it. Can I do them with that? Can I try it out? I'm like, sure, let's try it. So for people who are curious, to me it's just another variation. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but notice that you unscrew the handles on it, so then you're just doing it that way. Now, before people say, why don't you take the whole pad off? Because that's a lot of work. That's a pain in the butt. And the whole idea here is that that's squishy enough that it shouldn't damage it, and then you can just do them this way. But it's fairly popular, and he said, yeah, it felt pretty good on his elbows, so it definitely seems like a good variation if your elbows are getting a little beat up. All right, then of course we do rows, dumbbell rows, lateral raises, all that stuff. And these will give a better idea of what I mean of Doug as a leaner lifter. And he is historically kind of a hard gainer. And when I say a hard gainer, I mean he struggles to eat enough calories. Okay, and there's a lot of background. There's a lot of times history. It's not just genetics with being a hard gainer. I find that there's other history involved that I've kind of done videos on. And Doug falls into those categories. So a lot of times it's been other things that have happened in your lifestyle, prescription medications, things like that. Those are your real hard gainers. People on ADHD meds, hard gainers. Okay, that's a perfect example. They're not genetically hard gainers. Their medication makes them hard gainers. So Doug tends to be obviously leaner, right? Leaner lifter. And he likes it that way, so we're good. But then he ends up competing in the 181 class, right? So that's where he competes, and he's not water cutting. So his walk around weights, that's what he walks in at. But we do a small water cut a little bit the morning of the weigh-in, because why not? Why add 5 pounds to your body weight if you don't have to? So what do I mean by that? Just skip water. Don't eat or drink anything the morning of a weigh-in. You'll lose a little bit of weight walking in by the time the weigh-in starts, because usually weigh-ins are about 9 a.m. for most meets, right? And then they're usually for our feds 24 hours before you compete. All right, dynamic effort, lower day. We do speed box squats with a safety bar. He does speed conventional pulls, and we do not do sumo for Doug anymore because he's been injured on sumo. And, before people say, well, should that ever happen? It wasn't even with a heavy weight. It was with a warm-up with no warning signs. So for him, we worry about the sumo. So he had a serious hamstring pull last year while ramping up to a training max, literally like 100 pounds less than his max. He was still doing the warm-up singles, and it pulled with no previous pain. So those things do happen. And we weren't on high volume. He was on moderate volume. So there was just no explanation for it. So again, we've been very, very careful with that, and we just avoid sumo for him for now. All right, and then everything else is pretty similar to what we have previously done, right? The rest of the supplemental work looks very much like the max effort day. Okay, we do the split squats, we do Romanian deadlifts, we do reverse hyperextensions. Of course, he's trying them with a little bit of bands now. He wants to be creative. We're getting creative with some of this stuff, just so that we can hit some different variations, help with overuse, all those things, just to avoid getting beat up. So he changes JM presses, messing with bands a little bit on the reverse hypers. Minor changes in the movement patterns. This is how we avoid overuse injuries, right? It's extremely helpful to just make minor changes so that these become new exercises. And then, of course, he does pull-ups. And then today he said, I was feeling really fatigued. I chose not to do them with weight. I just did body weight ones. Of course, he can crank out like 17, 18 reps with body weight. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.